I remember in November of 2009, that whole summer, up until the fall, Vinay had been reaching out to me via MSN Messenger, which was a popular communication method at the time. He avoided phone calls and avoided any other kind of way of communication because already I knew that he didn't want other people to know about our relationship. Why? I didn't really quite understand. I didn't understand that it was because he could be easily charged of child rape if anyone knew the kinds of things he would talk to me and the kinds of things that he did. I didn't even grasp that it was not because people might misunderstand. It was not because of the lies that he fed to me, but because he was trying to cover his tracks. By that time in November, the fall colors coming in, I remember it had been a year since Vinay first took me to his apartment, laid me down on his bed, kissed me, pulled my clothes off, and completely overpowered me. I remember I didn't even have the cognition that I could say no against him. I was so powerless that I couldn't even meep. I couldn't even say anything, even while I was in pain underneath him. After countless times over the next year, where he would take me to numerous locations, including his apartment and again, nearby my elementary school in his car, even nearby my middle school, even nearby my house, everywhere in my childhood, he literally destroyed every single memory with his presence. He had constantly been playing, constantly been acting as if he was in love. Or that he had truly cared for me and that we were in a relationship that actually promised each other things. I remember when I was 18 years old and had been 2 years since the charges were filed and Vinay was in prison, I read about Stockholm Syndrome. I read about how many kids are so convinced about their abuser that they start thinking like them. And I realized that is exactly what happened to me. It was not a relationship. It was not anything like that. It was a predator against prey. Vinay had messaged me and said, keep your things ready. Keep them all packed. When it's time, I'll tell you when to go. We're going to go away for some time. When he said these words, I couldn't even fathom, I didn't even understand what he was saying. But I can tell you for a fact that I was okay with it. I was so manipulated and under a delusion that I didn't even realize that he was wanting to kidnap me. He wanted me to take me away. And finally, his grand plan or whatever was going to come true. And all of this he had been leading up to, he had been talking about for the entire year, and I didn't even see it. Only now, after I'm able to recover from the physical trauma that he put me through, am I able to see that there was a grand plan behind every single one of his moves, behind everything. He was planning on attacking Paramahamsa Nithyananda from the very beginning, perhaps even before he started to rape me. I know this because everything that he had said, every single thing that he had told in his case against Paramahamsa Nithyananda is something that he had done to me. He was the one who told me that it's good for enlightenment to have sex. He was the one who told me that people don't understand our relationship. And he was the one who told me that anything I could do, I should be ready to do anything to sacrifice for him, sacrifice for his love. I was so shocked when I read his testimony against Nithyananda that I actually cried for days just seeing that all of this he was planning on making me do. He wanted me to tell something against Paramahamsa Nithyananda. And the entire time he was feeding lies into me, telling me that Swamiji was a bad person, that he was someone that I couldn't trust, that he was manipulative, and there's not everything in the Sangha isn't as it seems. He was always so vague and so evil-minded that I didn't even see it. I can't believe I didn't even get a sniff of that. But I understand now that the amount of physical trauma had to have healed for me to see that there was such a big, blatant conspiracy behind what he was saying. For those of you who don't know, my name is Lakshmi Sahiti Malladi, and I am now sharing the truth finally to the world about the conspiracy that Vinay Bharadwaj had twisted and turned against Paramahamsa Nithyananda, attempting to make me as the bait that he would use. I wanted to make this series in order to finally spread the truth so that everyone can understand and realize that the grand actions behind these people, the planned and ferocious attack against Hinduism in order to stamp it out completely. I hope that you continue listening and are eager to spread the truth finally to the world. Thank you.